Oh, yeah, I can see it fine. Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Vaishali, and this is the CareGena podcast. Here I am today with Madhu, who is the co-founder of dabbL.
Thank you. Thank you, and happy to be on your podcast.
Yeah, it was wonderful when I learned about all of the amazing work you've been doing. What specific goals and aspirations drive the work you engage in?
With dabbl,
Yes.
we have one single goal at this point to enable every student to own the next steps in their career journey. That's more or less what we are focused on.
Could you share a deeply personal or impactful story that inspired your involvement in this work?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The entire concept of dabbl is driven by the personal background that I have, and my co-founder brings a very similar background as well. I have two kids, both of them grown, both of them gone through this high school journey, and the challenges they faced, the uncertainties that they were going through, even with all of the resources available to them. That's what started the thought process of, if everything and all the support around you is not enough at this point to for you to be very confident in the path that you have chosen, what about all the other students who are probably not as resourced and connected as you are? What about all the other students who are still struggling to find the support? What about all the counselors who do want to help every single child in their school system but run out of resources, time in particular, to support all of them, because it's a big list of students that they support, and the time that they can commit to is only still 24 hours in a day, right? So all of those thoughts started the the that was the genesis of dabbl. That's where we started off. And my co-founder was on a very similar journey with her kids as well, where her first kid is going to college. He's college bound now,
Mhm.
and the younger one started high school, and very similar thoughts around all of that as well. So that's where we started coming together and figuring out, what is it that the students want today? What is the support that they're looking for? What is the support that they probably will get the maximum returns on investment from? Is it hands-on learning? Is it guidance? Is it mentoring? What is it?
Yeah, definitely. As a incoming freshman to Berkeley myself, I can totally agree that high school has been a very stressful journey,
Yeah.
and especially it's not just academics, it's kind of like competition with peers. So, you
Hmm.
never know what others are doing, and you never know what might strengthen your application. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, I would totally
Congratulations on Berkeley.
thank you. Um, when reflecting on your work, what are some of the most formidable challenges you've encountered, and how have you navigated through them?
Sorry, I think my Wi-Fi dropped for a second. Can you
Oh,
repeat the
sorry.
question?
Yes. When reflecting on your work, what are some of the most formidable challenges you've encountered, and how have you navigated through them?
So there are challenges in every stage, and I'm going to talk more about dabbl at this point because I think that's the point of conversation.
Mhm.
Our first challenge was to understand, like I was saying before, what is it that gives you the maximum return on investment when it comes time to guiding, mentoring, work-based learning? What makes you comfortable in saying, I chose this career because I believe in it? I chose this college because I believe in it. Is it fit based? Is it personalization? What is it? Is it guidance? Is it your hands-on learning experience? That's the first challenge. The next challenge after that was, and going back to my Nutanix days where we would say customer delight in everything, is it solving a problem for the student? Or is it adding one more thing on the list of things that they do today as already stretched high school seniors and high school juniors and maybe high school students altogether? So those were the first two that we tackled. And every step is a learning, learning about yourself, learning about the product that you're building, learning about your customer base, learning about how to reach out to the students that are not directly in your network, learning about how to reach out to the students that are like far removed from you, all of those. So it's a journey, it's a learning all through.
Definitely. And I think especially for like research opportunities, people kind of don't have enough resources because maybe their parents are in tech or in bio or something. So yeah, I would totally agree. Networking is a crucial skill that people need to learn early to, get the return on investment, as you
Yeah.
mentioned. Yeah. What novel approaches has your work embraced to confront complex issues or adversities?
So novel, it's not novel. It's, knowledge that we have gathered over the past 2 decades or so of working in uh, in enterprise tech world, and in working on large scale systems, in working and solving the scale challenges that our customers go through, as we were looking through the entire ecosystem around us, right? I mean, when you talk about more than 400, 500 students per counselor, right? I mean, the moment you start talking about those kind of numbers, the next thought that comes to our mind right after is, how do you solve that? What is the recommended numbers and how do you solve that? And the recommended numbers are probably half of what is in the school system today. What have we done in the past? Oh, we have added more counselors in the mix in every school and, thus shared the load. Okay. How long is it going to take us as a system to reach the numbers that are recommended? And the more you look at that data, it's like, oh, it's 4 decades out, right? And the moment you say it's 4 decades out, it's like, oh, for the next 4 decades, the problem is going to be the same. And then you go back and look at how the job landscape is changing, and you come up and say, oh, there used to be a profession for engineering, there used to be a profession for medicine, there used to be a profession for something else. And now the fields are blending, right? I mean, now there is biomedical engineering, now there is AI backed shopping, now there is, you know, AI backed teaching and or anything and everything, right? The fields are blending, and the more the fields start blending, you start thinking about how far is the human knowledge going at this point. As a counselor, how can I stay up with every new emerging career? It all comes down to, what our numbers are, what kind of scale we are looking at, and how do we solve it for scale. And the only thing that I've learned in the last 2 decades or so is the power that tech gives you to solve some of these scale challenges is unmatchable. And when you take the changing college landscape, and when you take the tech advancements, and when you take the problem at hand and it not getting solved for the next 4 decades, you put it all together in a box. The only way I can think of solving it is through automating whatever manual aspects are there in this process, so you can free up human time to bring in more of that human impact between those 15-30 minute conversations that a counselor has with the students, to make it more impactful. So is that novel? It probably is not novel, but will that be impactful? I absolutely think it would be.
Yeah, definitely. And I think especially as high school student myself, like I personally did not, yeah, I think as you mentioned, there was not enough time for me to discuss all of my academics and as well as social pressure that I was going through. So yeah, I would totally, be want to be involved in something like that. And especially, I know a lot of people nowadays, they send their kids to private schools just because of this issue. And they also hire extra academic counselors, which
Absolutely.
cost a lot. And it's
Mhm.
like, and I think from that, you could get the same like education from that counselor that you're paying like hundreds or something
Yeah.
to and get it at school, right? So, yeah,
Thousands, try thousands. That's what
right,
I've,
thousands.
that's the data we have gathered.
Oh, sorry, you cut out a little bit. What were you saying? Sorry.
I was saying thousands, try thousands, because our numbers say it's not hundreds of dollars, it's thousands of dollars.
Wow. Yeah, it's a big industry now.
It is. It is a north of, I mean, our numbers tell us it is a north of like $5 billion industry at this point.
Wow.
And this is guidance only, and it's driven by less than top 1% of the students who can actually afford it. there's still 99% of us left with minimal support. And the only way to support every single student, the only way to democratize this entire guidance, counseling, and education and career planning and all of that is through tech.
Definitely. And yeah, and I think especially for like, immigrant families who are totally new to the US
Yep.
system, like coming
Yep.
from China, India, like kind of like anywhere in Asia.
Yeah.
Like everyone's only seen the highest paying jobs as engineer and doctor.
Hmm.
And as you mentioned, the blended environment that we have now with the variety of careers forming, I think, yeah, tech would be the way to, effectively manage out your career.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a first generation immigrant myself, right? I mean, when my children were going through schools and colleges, for me it was baffling because I haven't seen that. I had a
Hmm.
path, I had a curriculum, I had a path. I would pick up the syllabus, do the courses, clear a grade, move on to the next grade. And then I knew this is the college. And I knew because that was the only option available,
Definitely.
right? But with the blending of things and with the plethora of choices that we have here in US, which is an amazing thing, it can also be confusing. And
Yeah.
confusing not just as students, but confusing as parents as well, right? And probably confusing as institutions as well. That's why these blended courses are coming in, right? I mean, courses that offer management, tech, entrepreneurship in one box.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like management, tech, entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
completely two different uh, education or, degree streams, and now you're blending them as one.
Exactly. And I think
And
there's
absolutely, I mean, that's the only way to go through things. But how would a student know if that's the right choice for the student?
yeah. And
Yeah.
I totally I think since many teenagers are still trying to figure them out themselves in life, I think what US offers is like not really offered anywhere else, which is flexibility. There's
Hmm.
community colleges available which can
Oh,
transfer
yeah.
to universities. There's also uh you know AP courses which can
Yep.
save credit and tuition. So I think yeah, there's a lot of varieties and options. And I think most colleges nowadays are holistic,
Hmm.
um, where they don't require SAT or ACT. So that's like totally different from the Indian structure. I know that you have to pass an exam to get into those top colleges, and that can be very, very stressful for young teenagers. But I think in America, it's a little bit more flexible, but there's still competition.
Oh, the competition's there, and not just competition, the stress is there.
Oh
With
yeah.
with testing, there is a different type of stress. Without testing, there is a whole different type of stress.
Oh yeah.
Now it's like, what is deciding if I get into this college or not?
Yeah.
Should I try for this college? Should I, the college that were targets for me at one point are now reaches. The colleges that were safeties for me at one point are now targets. So what do I do? Where do I apply? Right? So those kind of uncertainties come in eventually. So yes, the system has its advantages, the system has its drawbacks too.
Yeah, and I think everyone has like similar resumes, similar profiles.
Mhm.
And I kind of find it funny that those expensive counselors say, "Oh, I can guarantee you admission into MIT and Harvard and Stanford." And I'm just looking at the acceptance rates and I don't really I find it funny personally, but I think, people shouldn't really depend on someone else and actually try to like, achieve it them like try to find their own like drive, right?
Mhm.
Instead of relying on someone like a counselor who's charging you thousands of dollars for you to come back to them
Yep.
and giving you the same advice every time.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, I guess drawing from your own journey, what invaluable insights or pearls of wisdom would you impart to individuals embarking on, paths to education and leadership?
My advice to anybody who's embarking on anything new, be it going to college, being it picking up a new career, being it anything, is so this is another one of Nutanix values that has stayed with me and will probably always stay with me is get comfortable being uncomfortable. If you are not uncomfortable in your current situation, you're not pushing the boundaries. If you're just starting on your career and college journey, try out as many different paths as you want to. Try out everything that's interesting to you. Figure out where you excel. Figure out what is the right thing for you to do. And try it out. I mean, you have the luxury of trying it out here. Do it. Use it. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take that leap.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what people need to really understand is there's no rush to become an expert at something.
There is no rush to become an expert.
Yep.
See, it's
I
not
know.
the destination, it's the journey, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you're always on a journey. You will never reach a destination.
Yep.
So be on that journey, be a learner always, and keep learning.
Yeah, and I think I know many people nowadays are just trying to like, do these research programs and like, get awards just for like, like science awards, research awards, math awards, and they don't really have an interest in that subject. And I think, people should follow their passion and not just do what others are doing, right? So, kind of like social, I guess this could be um I guess a project like a part of social influence. But I think, yeah, as you mentioned, take risks, but also be balanced with your schedule and not overdo it.
Absolutely. Always. Always. Explore everything. If not now, then when will you explore? You are
Hmm.
at a stage in your life where you can actually afford to take that chance.
Definitely.
When you are that fortunate, when you can take that chance, when you can afford the flexibility of exploring different things, do it.
Would you recommend any, I guess, techniques that people could use to like, discover their passions or, just like kind of like, find the right idea?
Well, honestly, there is no one size fits all. When it comes to exploring and discovering the passion, it's like, again, there's no one size fits all, right? I mean, you learn about yourself every single day.
Mhm.
Till about a year ago, I didn't know I'm going to be in education space at all. I didn't know I'm going to be in the space of future of work and guiding students for careers and all of that, right? But here I am. And it's not about how do I get an idea. It's about how do I connect with a problem and how do I solve for that problem? And do I have the right set of resources around me to solve that problem in the right way? Could I have done dabbL 5 years ago? Probably, but I'm better suited to do it today because of all the tech advancements that I have around me. And I have the experience, through my kids. 4, 5, 6 years ago, I would not have the same experience. I would not connect with the problem the same way. And yes, I can probably still continue to build tech, but again, if I don't connect with the problem the right way, can I bring out the right solution? Today, that stance has changed for me. So the problem's not new. The idea is not new. It's about, are you skilled to solve for that problem? So, it's never about how do you get an idea. It's always about, continue learning about yourself, continue finding out your own passions, and there is no one size fits all for anybody. Everybody learns differently. Everybody explores things differently. Do what works for you. You do you. It's pretty much that.
Yep, definitely. And I think as per my own experience, as now a college student, I think the importance of staying calm and persevering through challenges is what I learned throughout my years in high school. Because I know there were tests that kind of made me so depressed. Like I got maybe a bad score in one exam and I felt like I couldn't do anything. But then, you know, through perseverance, I kept trying and I opened my own nonprofit. And I started these podcast hosts at the age of 17.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think people should just, utilize all the resources near them. And, as you mentioned, dabbL is a great resource. Um, And also, like, learn to connect with people and not just like,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think being empathetic is a really crucial skill, which I
Mhm.
learned through my years of leadership at school is, the way to build connections is kind of like really understanding the other person's point of view and where they come from. Right.
Absolutely. And you just said something, and I want to, probably dig a little deeper into that. You said, you didn't get good grades in one of the test, or, things weren't always panning out the way you were expecting them to. So you decided to pick yourself up and move forward. That's always the case, right? I mean, if things are not, one grade doesn't define you.
Hmm.
10 years from today, that grade would actually become irrelevant. And yet, as students, we take so much stress just harping on the one grade. And, is it the life defining moment for us? It's not, because there are always so many choices. So you dropped your ball at some, you dropped a ball. That's okay. Go ahead, pick it up, move
Hmm.
on to the next target, take the next shot, make up for that grade that you just lost. And there are n different ways of doing that.
Definitely. And there's always like help out there. So if you need help with tutoring or like, just like there's online courses too. So
Absolutely.
yeah, just really reaching out to people who
Hmm.
like, maybe seniors, especially dabbL would like help you definitely with, your customized plan and how to recover
Yeah.
your grades. Yeah, I personally did not do well in math, so and I still got into Berkeley, so I thought that was like a dream come true. But yeah, I think there's not really a set goal of being like, well, you only get into Berkeley or like I guess top 10 or 15 universities if you're valedictorian. Like they look you they look at you as a person, not
Hmm.
just like a list of, oh, awards, I won this. Like that's
Hmm.
why I think a lot of people work on their essays, right? And I think for that, I think that's where most people like kind of struggle at, right?
Absolutely. That's true. I mean, one, like we were talking about before, right? One thing doesn't define you. Bring out your holistic self. Bring out who you are. I mean, every single person is an amazing person, and every single person has their unique set of strengths. Play to your strengths.
Definitely, yeah. Well, it was wonderful to have talked to you today, and yeah, thank you for being on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you for hosting me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share our thoughts. And thank you for running this amazing podcast.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you, and see you.
Yeah.